Hello, I'm Rob and welcome to the Geek Show, and on this video today we're talking about a game and whether it's worth playing. The title in question today is The Bearded Lady Consultant, cool name, new strategy game, Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden. It's based on a tabletop game. I'm not going to pretend to be knowledged in that world at all, because I'm not. I've only really played Zombicide badly. But this is a world which is rife for sort of adaptation to video games, and on the evidence of this, there's some real great ground to be mined, you know. But what this is, I feel it needs a bit of explaining. It's a post-apocalyptic scenario, and as the elder, who is basically like the boss of your characters, the saviour of your characters, explains it, the world went to pot. Famine and disease were ignored, and eventually it resulted in a nuclear apocalypse and nuclear annihilation. Now, it takes place after that annihilation. I don't know how long, but long enough for people to have mutated into a duck and a bar. They're your two main characters: Barman, the bar, and Ducks, the duck. And Ducks, well, both of them actually, do the weird anthropomorphised way to sort of sub in swearing. So instead of saying certain swears, they say, for ducks' sake. I had to say that carefully, but you get the gag. But the story, that was like the world it's set in. The story is you are the two characters there. You pick up other players, other characters along the way. Like any good anime shonen, you make companions along the road, but like that, it's much bleaker. But in Ark, which is where you live and where everything sort of centralises, the shops and the sort of light economy that the game includes, so picking up like scrap and old weapons and this and that. Somebody called Hammond, who's basically like the engineer who knows how everything works and fixes everything and makes sure everything keeps on keeping on. And he's gone missing. It turns out, slight spoiler, that he's heading to a place called Eden. Now, if you've watched like literally any sort of post-apocalyptic whatever, there's always that subplot there, that B plot or whatever plot, that's about sort of Eden, a place where the apocalypse is not so much touched, but it's just sort of liberated. It's free. It's people can be people, and the bad elements, the cults, the gangs, the violence, it's not really laid its fingers on there. It's a bit of a fable in all of these stories, and it is here too, but you have to follow him because you need Hammond to keep your home running, the Ark running. Now, gameplay wise, I said that a lot really quick, so slow down a second. Gameplay wise, it's XCOM basically, in the sense of the panels and how you move your players around, and it's a strategy RPG, not a strategy game, sorry. Well, I guess there's an element of RPG to it too. But before that, it's also a stealth game. As you can see now, there's an enemy over there, and he's got like a red circle around him. That's sort of his sphere of vision. So like Metal Gear Solid had that little cone where it shows you what your the bad guys could see and how to sort of maneuver the level. This is the same, but until you make a noise, until you shoot somebody, until something, you can stealth your way around and find your way through the level and plan your attack strategically, which is very important. Because again, going back to what XCOM is, XCOM was a game in which, XCOM 2, which is one I played at least, was a game in which you were basically fighting to take control back of the planet from an alien invasion force. So a rebellion grows bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you can sort of at least have some sort of good shout, build up a good military force, build up a good military might. But this is however many years after the apocalypse. All the resources are gone. Let's say sort of Last of Us style apocalypse where everything's ruined and you're just basically picking over scraps. Everybody's picking over those scraps. There's not a lot of people left. Most of the people out in the world have gone feral, basically. So you're basically against insurmountable odds. So you have to employ that stealth. And you can't just jump into things and win gung-ho style like you can on a lot of strategy RPGs. But on this one, if you go into it sort of half-cocked, you will die. I mean, I'm not bad at these games, but this is difficult. And that's fine, I guess. But at the end of the day, it's a sort of Dark Souls inspiration, as in it punishes you if you do something foolish, or if you don't plan entirely properly, which is fine, but it becomes hard to recommend because of that. Because you look at the narrative, you look at the world building, as you'd expect with a tabletop game. Those things are all about that, whether you've made it yourself or whether it comes with the story that the creators of the game wanted it to come with. Narrative is what makes those things work so well and makes them so easy to invest in. This one has a great narrative. It's very well acted. The sound effects great. The design of it great. But I don't know. Maybe there's been accusations on not accusations, outright claims on YouTube, social media, whatever, that games critics, journalists, whatever you want to call them, are rubbish at games. Now, I don't want to say, yeah, that's totally true, but in this case, yeah, it is totally true. And I know people say that you shouldn't have like easy mode and dark Souls, sorry. You don't really have it on here too. You have like normal difficulty, you have hard difficulty, you have whatever difficulty, but none of them are easy. And with it being an indie game, it's very good for an indie game, so sort of like a high-end indie game. This is the sort of thing which people play from a personal perspective. This is the sort of thing that people play where they want something that they can just put on for a few hours and get a great deal out of it. Which is the way I've been approaching it anyway, and yeah, it's a sort of game where you'll be playing levels over and over and over and over and over again. And I know complaining about that sort of thing in today's gaming age is kind of foolish, but nonetheless, it's something which I can't really get around. It's a game where I enjoy spending all the time. I enjoy the characters, but I don't know. I do come from like sort of Ghouls and Ghosts era gaming, and that is where I began. But at the same time, I don't know. I think the issue I'm getting at here is, yeah, you can justify like the narrative and the gameplay and how they coalesce with one another. Like, you basically are on a suicide mission. So if it was anything other than hard, it wouldn't really be true to the image that the game is trying to, the hard-boiled sort of vision the world is trying to impress upon you. It just wouldn't work. It wouldn't fit in with what the game's trying to be. So me saying, oh, too hard, is kind of missing the point. I know that. But I don't know. I'm really grasping at straws here about trying to poke holes in it, and I don't think it really deserves to have holes poked in it, because it's an excellent game, one which I enjoy spending time in, but all at the same time. One which I feel like I'm forever banging me head against the brick wall. Because not long after this, there's a mission, well, not so much a mission, but a conflict where you are basically the furthest north the characters have ever been. You've got a third member of your party. She looks human, but she's also a mutant, and you are on the tail of Hammond, and it's incredibly difficult, incredibly early on, which is building up that whole idea of being like Dark Souls, and it's not forgiving, it doesn't want to be forgiving, it's just throwing you in the deep end, and that's admirable because it's not holding your hand. But at the same time, indie games by their definition, my personal definition, are games which are contrary to the ultra mainstream, and ultra mainstream about games that sort of you invest your life in. You play a game and you can get hundreds upon hundreds of hours in it. It's all about microtransactions. It's all about investing so much into it. Indie games are, you put it on for a few hours, you get a great deal from it. And when you hit missions where you just get stuck, you have to do it over and over and over again. For me, that's counter indie gaming, which I feel horrible in saying this because this is an excellent game. It's just, this is a case of me talking about games like in target audiences. This is very obviously not for people, stupid heads like me. This is for people who take their strategy very seriously. This is for people who like planning out attacks. This is for like pincer movements and flanking and proper military sort of ideas going into how you approach each mission, which is vital because every game, every level you do, you are outgunned. So I can recommend it, but again, if you like the look of this and you like the challenge, go for it. But if you don't like the challenge and you just want to dip in and enjoy like a immersive world that's well told and well written, maybe give this one a wide berth, because that difficulty spike is something that is marginal. It's something to talk about there. But this is Mutant Year Zero. If you like what I had to say, click the like button. Even if you dislike what I have to say or love what I have to say, give us a subscribe. Keep up to date with all the things happening here on the Geek Show. But until next time, when I be back with another video game, I think it's mech fighting next time. Keep it on the Geek Show. I've been Rob, and thanks for watching. See you next time.